everybody. I'm Phindile Ngcongo. I'm doing a talk on wellness, the physical aspect of things. I work as a physiotherapist, so in my line of job, I get to see how inactive people are. I get to see how active people are. So today, we just want to focus on how the physical being of a human body impacts the whole life. We're looking at the first stages of life. This is where you're born and you are so weak. You can't even hold your head up high. And we see the stages of a child. They're called developmental stages. This is where we see a child gaining head control, they gain their back control, and they're able to sit. And that again transitions to them sitting, wanting to crawl. And that transitions to crawling into standing. And then they start to stand and unsettling balance, and they start to walk, and we're happy. They walk, they run, they go to school. Now, those stages, what happens is there are systems in the brains that control those stages. If a child has difficulty with walking, we find that it delays because the processes in the brains are not properly in place. And those then need facilitation most of the time. So as we grow, we develop a lot of habits which are taught by our parents, our circumstances, and most of us then succumbs to poor lifestyle. We barely do anything to keep active or to keep aware that our minds are registering what we're doing. We then influence patterns, and lifestyles influence those patterns into unhealthy habits. One of those habits are more of what you eat. We are more of what we eat than we are aware of. Now, most of the times, you are very conscious of what is happening within your body, within the surroundings. But lest you could take that and contribute it towards your physical aspect. Now, a lot of what we eat, we have to intend and make decisions that will impact on how you feel in your body. That can lead to healthy or unhealthy lifestyle. Within this pandemic, we've seen a whole lot of stress again related. Also, those are coming from the mind. So a lot of us were easily going, minding our own business, and all of a sudden, we are closed down. We had to be indoors most of the time. That's where we started seeing value of exercise. Now, for some of us, we are very aware and we're up and opening. But then this pandemic then brought us into awareness that we are not physically fit. It brought us into awareness of our daily doings, that we are less active, we're less mindful, as well as the stress factor of it. Being indoors, being in one environment all the time can create a lot of stress. But again, how do you then deal with stress? So all those poor lifestyle led to us being couch potatoes. A lot of us are sitting at home, watching TV day in and day out. We eat. You know, there's poor level of activities. A lot of us have stopped walking to work. We're working from home. What does that do? Take your laptop, you're in bed, you know, you're not mindful. The next thing you know, your body is painful. The next thing you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. But it's because your physical ability of doing things has been eliminated and limited. So then we start looking at what controls the systems that keep us active. It's called the central nervous system. The central nervous systems, like I told you, the stages as a child. Those stages are recorded for life. You find that in life, you miss a pattern. It takes you back to doing those things. Again, I'm going to keep on reflecting back on the pandemic. We've seen a lot of stroke amongst the youth. We're thinking it's mostly related to stress. Obviously, we've been hearing a lot about comorbidities as well. I'm going to go and dwell into that. But I just want to say, when people have stroke, the biggest issue is what we don't understand is that the importance of the developmental stages in the adult's life. Now, we take that for granted most of the time, but it goes back to those basic things. Every day you have to sit and stand. How many times you do that? But you're always unaware of what you're doing. But your mind is registering all these things. By the time illness, sickness, and all the other things happen, your brain has the capacity to take you to the flexible level that you've invested in. So most of us don't take exercise as an investment. But I love the scripture in Psalms 24 that says, we are the generation of them. If we are the generation of them, are we going to be able to be physically fit to sustain and also partake on what God has stored for us. Pounder on that. Now, let's look at the benefits of movement or physical activity. The first is controlling your weight. Summer is coming. Everybody's rushing to the gym. Everybody wants the body, the six-pack. They want the look. Less clothing in summer. But how about you make that a lifestyle? Because it will help you control your weight. You don't have to wait for summer, eat in winter. You don't have to fluctuate seasons, but you learn to be consistent and be happy with who you are, with your weight, but at the same time be fit with that. And then we look at the exercise, being able to reduce the risk of heart disease. We've seen a lot of heart attacks. This is the influences that we're not being consistent in our exercise level. Now, how it helps eliminate the heart diseases that every time you exercise, your blood pumps, so it flows nicely through the heart is happy, everything in your system is happy. Now, it becomes a challenge because some of us have what we call hereditary diseases that we don't know about. But some of us, it's this fluctuating, I exercise, I do not exercise. Whatever you've been feeding yourself, high cholesterol foods, those then create a bit of clots in your blood vessels. By the time you start to exercise, those clots lodge straight to the heart, and then boom, it's a heart attack. If they lodge straight into your brain, boom, that's a stroke. And then life happens. So I challenge people that be consistent in your exercises. And then we look at exercise improving your mental health. Definitely, if you exercise, your mood changes. If you exercise, you challenge yourself, the ability of your brain to learn, to challenge yourself onto another level. Those are the benefits that you get. As well as most of the time when you exercise, you are bound to go outdoors. So there's fresh atmosphere. Your brain is able to cope. You stop thinking about the stressing things of life. You start to shift and admire the beauty of life and the surroundings you use to exercise. Obviously, most of us prefer different places to exercise, but think about that. You change the four walls that you're always staring at. Hey, and then we look at it improving our sleep. Most people struggle with sleep. I think because the technology we're in, a lot of us are on our phones all the time. Our brains also feed on that. When you're trying to sleep, your brain cannot shut off because it keeps on recycling the same things you've been viewing, the same things you've been doing. But if you exercise, then your brain gets tired as well because you fed it alternative things, your bloods are pumping, then you're able to be tired and get enough relevant sleep. I always say this, if you're sleeping and you're still thinking you're not sleeping, you need to sleep completely, go down, and be able to wake up after hours and then you realize, oh, I fell asleep. We look at exercise, strengthening our muscles and our bone structure. A lot of our older people, when they stand up, it's the ouch, it's the age, it's all the stories that happen. It's a loss of exercise again. If you want to keep healthy joints, you want to keep your muscles stronger, you have to invest in exercise. And then you change, it gives you a longer chances of life. I mean, we see with the other races who have adapted to that change. They tend to live longer. Not that our people don't live longer, but we're seeing a lot of us dying young. Why? Because diseases happen. Our bodies cannot cope. They cannot detox because we barely do anything. We sit, we eat, we do TV, we do phones. We barely are engaging in the activities that promote our body to be well. Now, I want to challenge everyone and say, you need to intend to exercise. Now, you know your shortfalls. You know your health. You know, be it for weight reasons, be it medical reasons, be it for recreational reasons, mental health, you want to relax. But I think you have to find a reason. Why do you want to keep physically active? Yes, so many things have changed. Instead of you walking, taking the stairs, you're at home most of the time. But intend, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve before you exercise? And also, find fun in the activity. Look at what talks to you. Are you an indoor person? Are you an outdoor person? What do you like? Do you like to do things with people? Do you want to do things in isolation? There's so many options. We've seen a lot of people starting to hike. That's part of exercise. We've seen a lot of people putting videos and doing it in their own space in their bedroom. That's also part of exercise. As well, look at what works for you. Other people, it works in the morning, it works in the afternoon, but be consistent. Find the time that is right for you to keep fit and keep active. And then challenge to keep active with friends and family. Most of the times we meet for shisanyama, we meet for a whole lot of fun. But all those fun, we almost together. We barely move. Challenge your family, challenge your friends to pop up and do something fun. There's a lot of fun games that can be done. Back in the days as children, we used to play a lot. When you met with your cousin, there's always ingqathu, magalop, some physical things. Let's challenge that. It's good for our children. It's good for us as well to partake on that. These days when someone have to run for the rain, the next stop, they're out of breath, which is not good. It's an indication that your body is yearning for exercise. And then make exercise your everyday activity. Challenge yourself. We've got a lot of apps that keep track of our steps, which is good. I urge you to try download that and keep track on how much you walk, how much are you active. There's a lot of app that does everything, but try and find it within what you want, within a lot of what you think feels good for you. Okay, and lastly but not least, we want to look at the principles and of exercise. Now, one of the things that most of us do is that we have the urge to exercise and we just go for it. Now, you need to think. You need to warm your muscles up. You haven't been active for a while. You've been sitting in bed, you've been at home for how many months? Now, you can't just go marathon, comrades. No, you start warming up. So you start small, stretching your joints all the time. You start stretching, you start walking and see how it feels. Then you can start jogging. And the pace you do that with, it depends on how your body is giving in, and then you can then proceed and strengthen then exercise. As well as after the exercise, you also stretch. That is called a warm down. Most of us, we get in the shower, I'm tired. That's not advisable. Always do a warm down just to relax your body so that your body is entirely aware that you have done with exercise. And then we look at the intensity of exercise. You got to time yourself in terms of this is how much I want to do. You can start with 1 squat, that's okay, but you need to gradually improve that. From 1 squat to 5 squats, you cannot stay on one squat the whole week, the whole month. Come on, you got to have some progress in it. We look at the type of exercise. Now, most of us are not the same. Are you exercising because you just want let loose? Are you exercising because you want to build muscles and you feel, whenever I walk, I feel tired? Then you must look at what muscle groups you want to improve. There's a lot of research that's been going around. There's a lot of YouTube. There's a lot of videos. Try and find that my thighs are weak. Google is going to do it for you. It's going to give you a whole lot of exercise you can ponder on. Again, there's a lot of apps that has different type of exercise. I always say if you invest in apps, because we are the phone generation, so that will help you to cope and also keep track of what you're doing. And then the most important part and the last part is rest and recover. Many of us do not rest. You see people on Red Bull, you see people on all the energy drinks, they're avoiding rest, which is the most important part of our body contributing to our physical being. Your body needs to process what you have done on the day. Now, when that is done, trust me, it will recover and then give you more, because the ability of your brain works with stretching and resting, which is why then we need to always find time. It is recommended that you have 8 hours of sleep. More is good. Less, yes, some days, but find time where you just totally shut down to the everyday happenings, and then make sure that you get better rest, and then you can recuperate. Thank you very much for listening.